All right, so for today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the JB Tools pipe deburring tool. Now, the model number for this is RT21655. Now, this is like I said, it's a deburring tool. I'm almost positive this is not made by JB. There's an OEM that's based out of Israel that makes these. And a bunch of different companies go and slap their name on it. And the only thing that I can tell that's different between all of them is the color of this plastic right here. Everything else pretty much matches. The bits are the same, how they insert's the same, and the caps are always generally black. It's just whatever color they chose for the main body of the tool. I know Milrose has one, which is, it's a red tool. Yellow Jacket also has one that is a darker blue. I've also seen some orange ones out there. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they're all coming from the same place. And it just depends on if you bought it from a supply house, you bought it on Amazon, wherever. I'm almost, like I said, almost positive they're coming from the same place if it's coming, if the tool says it's made in Israel. So it's generally important to always deburr a pipe when it comes to refrigeration lines. Now, I'm no expert when it comes to plumbing. I'm not sure if, you got to deburr the pipes for plumbing. But for refrigeration lines, it's always very important to deburr your copper line sets because the refrigerant is moving through the line sets at a very high pace. And if you leave that burr on there after you've brazed in your pipe on the inside, what can happen over time is that refrigerant is moving through the line set at a very high pressure. And over time, that loose burr, if you don't remove it, can break off, and it can either clog your piston, get stuck in a screen, or worse, it can get into your TXV and mess with how your system modulates the refrigerant and cause all sorts of problems. So that's, mainly why it's important to deburr your line sets after you've cut them. It can also affect how your flares fit, and it can affect how you swedge open a pipe. I've noticed that on some of the stuff that I've done. So here is the tool itself. It's generally an all plastic tool with the cutting head being made out of metal. Now this one is a little bit large in size. There are some more compact ones out there, but the one thing that this larger tool has going for it is you can pop the top of the tool off and you can put some extra blades in there. Now, I always recommend when you pick up one of these tools, always pick up at least one extra blade because you never know when you're going to need it because the blade might fail on you when you're least expecting it to happen. That's why it's always I always stress that it's super important to have a backup blade on you. This is a fairly simple tool to use. Now, if you do have to remove the blade, all you really have to do is press in on there, and the blade comes right out, and then it does slot back in. You just push the button, and it slots back in, which is nice. Now, this, like I said, it's a very simple tool to go ahead and use. Bring in some copper here that I have pre-cut, and you can see that there is somewhat of a burr on the inside, and you don't really, like I said, you don't want that breaking off and getting stuck somewhere in your line set. Now, typically when you're deburring a pipe, you want to have the pipe facing down because you don't want the chips that are going to come off from deburring to stay in the pipe. It can be a little challenging at some points, but you want to try your best to try and get that stuff out of there so that way it doesn't cause any issues. So to deburr it, all you really do is you hold the pipe and you just go around in circles, and you can see there's already a few chips popping out, and you just go around and you're just cutting that burr off so that it is a nice clean edge, and you're not going to have to worry about that copper ever having to come free or break free in the pipe. And it is, it's a fairly smooth, you can run your finger in there, there's no jagged edges or anything, so that is what you want. And then, if you're looking down the pipe, you don't want any material to be left in there. I'll show you what happens if you deburr it facing up. What's going to happen is that those chips are going to want to fall into the pipe. Yes, you'll get some chips that fall out of the pipe, but you are going to you could kind of see there's, a little bit of debris still in there, which you don't want to be in there. So you can take the tool, tap it out, or you can, put something in there and fish it out of there. That's, you don't, like I said, you don't want that getting stuck in the material or in your line set. So this tool generally will work up to, I would say about, I would say the smallest you probably want to go is a 3/8 line sets. There are some 1/4 inch line sets out there. Generally, you use those on a mini split. And if you're trying to use one of these tools on like a 1/4 inch line set, good luck. You're gonna struggle to do it. I'm sure if you can get it to do it, you'll be able to do it without an issue. But generally, when I'm working with a mini split line set and it's 1/4 inch, I'll just take my my utility knife and I'll just use that to deburr it instead of trying to fish this guy in there and trying to spin it around on that little tiny piece of copper line set. So that's pretty much the basics on how to use this tool. And like I said, you always want to stress not to get those chips stuck in the pipe, and you always want to deburr the tool when possible. So that's like I said, pretty sure that there's just an OEM out in Israel that makes these for pretty much everyone who wants one. There is a little spot right here that some of the companies out there, JB decided to opt out of it, that they can stamp a name there in the plastic or whatever. I'm sure that costs a few extra dollars, hence why JB decided not to do it. And you can also get replacement blades for it. So if you really like the JB brand, or you want to get into the JB brand and you're looking for replacement blades, here's a pack. You can buy it in a pack of 1, or you can buy it in a pack of 10. My supply house only had a pack of 1, so here is your part number right there. And it's pretty much pretty simple, basic packaging for the tool. Now I will go ahead and take that blade out of there, and I will put it in the handle, because like I said, you always want to have at least one extra blade on you, because you never know, you might, that didn't go as planned. You never know when the blade on here is going to fail, or it's not going to be sharp. You're going to be trying to deburr a pipe and you're really going to be struggling with it. It's going to want to hop all over the place and just be a pain, instead of just going around, get you that nice smooth cut on the pipe. So overall, definitely a good quality tool. That's all my supply house really had on hand. So I just went ahead and picked it up. I was in need of one. I somehow misplaced my last one. I'm not sure if I gave it to another coworker to use and never got it back, or if I left it somewhere, or better yet, it got lost somewhere in my van. So I just went to the supply house, picked one up. The single blade by itself through the supply house cost about $9-10. And this tool itself, I believe, cost me $20. So it's not that expensive of a tool. And I highly recommend it if you are a heating and cooling guy to go ahead and pick yourself up one of these. Not necessarily having to say you have to pick up a JB one. Milwaukee has some, and like I said, Yellow Jacket has one. Hilmar, all the brands that cater towards us heating and cooling technicians generally have a deburring tool. Whether you want to order it or just pick it up at your local supply house, that's probably going to be your best bet, is pick it up from your local supply house, so that way you don't have to wait for it to come. But with that being said, that's all I have for this video. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.